What's up, guys? Million Dollar Man, Travis Turner, Travi T, here to tell you a little bit about Airbnb hosting, setup, and the complications with it. So as you can see behind me, I've got a lot of stuff, right? I ordered everything on Amazon to have it ready for these properties. And this is only items that are needed specifically for each property that my cleaner suggested we get. So the houses are already completely furnished. Everything's already been inside of them for months and they've been operating. So this is just supplies. If I show you everything, this is just supplies for the last couple of weeks. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff. I'm actually sitting on some toilet paper rolls. So there's a lot of supplies that go into Airbnbs. There's a lot of do's and don'ts and different things that I think are important for you to know if you're wanting to jump into the short rental game. And I want to explain a few things to you. So number one, if you're getting a short-term rental, the biggest tip I can give you is location. No matter what where you find a property, make sure that it is in a desirable location that is easy access to public transportation or to where the events are going to be. For instance, I'm in Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech is the lifeblood of our city. So any property that I get that's a short-term rental, I want to be as close to the university as possible because that's where all the events happen, the football games, basketball games, anything like that. It's worth paying more for a property in close vicinity to where everything happens than to stay cheaper and try to rent out like one room and hopefully somebody shows up and rents the place out. You want to have desirability with Airbnbs. It's all about location. So spend a little bit of extra money to get the place you want and the location you want. Number two, you don't have to deck it out crazy, spend a lot of money. Little things go a long way. You've seen the decorative walls where people can do wood strips, paint the wall, gives it like a 3D effect. Little things like that cost a couple $100 here and there, some labor. It won't cost you a whole lot of money to do those kind of things. And that will bring up your aesthetics quite a bit, staying cheap. Floating shelves, really modernizing the property without spending a ton of money is a great idea. But when modernizing your home, you don't have to go overboard, right? So you can stay within budget. Make sure you set a budget for each property so you know exactly what you want to spend and start with your major items first, right? You need your beds, you need all of your toiletries, you need your towels, your sheets and linens. By the way, make sure you get at least two sets of sheets. That's a tongue twister. 2 sets of sheets per bed, so that way your cleaner can be washing one set while putting on another set on the beds versus having to sit there and wait for one whole set to dry, wash and then to dry and then to put on the bed. You're going to save a lot of time doing that. So make sure you have all the essentials, the basics. You're going to need things like hair dryers, all the soaps. Speaking on soaps, you want to make sure you have either the soap dispensers or bottles. Don't do soap bars. You want to be as close to a hotel as possible, but know that you're not going to have a cleaner go out and change every item every single time, right? You want to reuse a lot of things, but keep it fresh and keep it clean. So you want to have bottles. I like the ones that suction cup to the wall that you can press and you get the shampoo or the soap out or whatever it is and use in the bathroom. So that's super easy. They're not too expensive. It'll make your place look sharp. You just don't want to have used soap bars and things like that get smaller and smaller, and then people are like, where did they use this soap, right? You want to make sure that it's still usable for everybody. So that's some tips for furnishing on the cheaper end. Obviously, you're going to need a couch. I think that if you're having a property sleep less than, okay, let's talk about how many people you want to sleep. So in most properties, you want to sleep at least 6 people. If you're sleeping less than that and you only have a 2-bedroom and you're going to sleep 4 people, right? You're going to have a queen bed, or let's say it's even smaller and you have to have a twin or whatever. We're going to look and see if we can find a pull-out couch for the living room because you want to have at least 4 to 6 people minimum able to sleep for any given property. Unless your property is a 1-bedroom, then you have no choice. Just make it work with what you have. But the goal is to have at least 4 to 6 sleeping spots because usually people are going to come with a family and they might want to invite a friend or their kids, and next thing you know, you have 3, 4, 5 people in one property, and they all want to have at least a little space where they can have their own time, privacy, that sort of thing. So make sure you have at least 4 to 6 spots or a pull-out couch if we can't get to that number. The more you sleep, typically the better, because people like having bed access versus air mattresses or sleeping on the couch, that sort of thing. Now, jumping back into the supply side, as you can see, tons of items behind me. What you want to do is make sure you have all of your essentials, but then you also want to have some extra stuff. So this is where you can make the property shine. You can make it unique, because if your property looks exactly like everybody else's, you're going to be battling on price, and we don't necessarily want to do that, because we don't want to be the cheapest property where people come in there, spend the least amount of money, mess up your property, and then you're stuck with the bill, or you have to fight Airbnb for the funds, right? Because we know how that typically works out. What you want to do is you want to go inside, make it unique. Don't spend a ton of, most of your money on this, but you want to make it unique to your property by going in and putting up different kind of decor, painting. Stay simple, stay clean, don't make it cluttered, but make sure that whatever vibe and theme you're going for, you stick with that. So some people like a very unique, crazy theme, and they've got purple walls, and they have furry lamps and things like that. Or if you want to go very modern and keep it very sleek, or if you want to go more towards maybe your favorite city school like Texas Tech, we would do Texas Tech Red Raiders. We'd have double T's and the Masked Rider painted everywhere. Look it up if you don't know the Masked Rider. We'd have our logo all over the house and a Texas Tech rug, because everybody loves Texas Tech. So that's something that we might do here in Lubbock to generate more activity, more business, and more views and more revenue, right? Because ultimately we need more people looking at the property, more people booking the property. People want an experience when they book through Airbnb. They want it to be different, where they can go in, they can take photos, and they can have a good time. They want to show it off. So make sure you're sticking with some unique features for your Airbnb. I will give you another tip. Probably the last tip for this video is your management side of the Airbnb. So if you have one property managing on your Airbnb, that's doable on the Airbnb platform, okay? It's not that difficult to set the property up, set your amenities, set your entry code, everything like that. If you start getting into more, or you want a third-party managed properties like I do, then you're going to need some management software. And there's a lot of software out there that helps you either price properties or host properties. You have Hostly, I have IGMS. There's different systems out there that you can manage your properties on their system. And the reason that this is so beneficial is because it is very difficult to respond to everybody on time, all the time, within the time frame to become a SUPERHOST, and you need to have SUPERHOST. SUPERHOST will open you up to so many more people and bookings, it's unbelievable. So in order to achieve that, you have to respond to people within an hour of them asking the initial response, and you have to have a rating of 4.8 or better over the course of your career, and I think you have to have about 5 or 10 stays with you. So in order to achieve that, we have to be quick and we have to be efficient. In order to do that with multiple properties, you're going to need some kind of software that can respond to people automatically based on different things. Like I have one set up for if they book the property, it sends them a message. Whenever they respond to me asking questions, it sends them a message. Whenever they leave, it asks them for a review. So there's different automations that you can send where people will get those, and then they'll stay communicated with, and then help you get some more time to get back with those people on their questions or whatever they need. And it does help a lot with cleaning coordination and with messing with the calendar. If you want to have stuff on VRBO and Airbnb and let's say direct booking or booking.com, these management softwares can host all of those websites on one platform and multi link the calendar to where it crosses off. If a stay happens on Airbnb, it blocks it on the other websites, and that is huge. So that's another benefit to having a management software with Airbnbs. So all in all, I'll say that Airbnb hosting is not as easy as you'd think, especially third-party managing. It can be fun at times, but remember you're dealing with people, and people are not always sane, okay? So sometimes they have irrational expectations of the property or requests, and you have to work through these, and sometimes it's not for everybody. It's a lot of work. They'll call you at 1 a.m. asking for the water heater to be fixed, or the HVAC went out, or the truck next door is broken down and they're really worried that somebody may come over and start stealing parts next to it, and they're really worried that person may come knock on their door and steal their tires. So you have to deal with people's expectations, fears, management, everything along with dealing with the stay and also dealing with people. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult because people are not always the same. People are very different, which also keeps it exciting. So one way you look at it, however you look at it, it's either exciting, it's either not, whatever you think. But that is some tips on how to get started with Airbnb management. So without further ado, I've got to take my coffee to people that need coffee.